Well, there I was, walking down Park Avenue, and I got a phone call on a cell phone, took it out. We'd like you to go to Bonnie Timmerman's office and put something on tape for a show called NCIS, and you're playing a character called Ducky, who is a lecher. He leers at women, and that's the only thing we seem to be able to find out about him. So that's typecasting. So I went to Bonnie Timmerman's office, and the camera was here, and I was down on the floor, and she said, "Why are you on the floor? Get up." I said, "No, Bonnie, tip it down." I said, "I got a dead body, and it's on the floor." So I did the audition with the camera tilted down, and then I walked away. Of course, the right thing to do. I'd learned the script. I didn't need to worry about, reading or anything. And then I got a call to say that they wanted me to go to Los Angeles to audition for Ducky. So I said, fine, I'll go to an audition. So they flew me out to Los Angeles, and I rented a car and stayed in a little hotel, and then went over, I can't remember which his first was, CBS. And I went in, I met Don Belisario. There were these little projection rooms where they would use to do casting. And the first time I went in, and Susan Bluestone was reading the other characters, the casting director, who was so charming and so supportive and wonderful on these occasions. And I seem to remember the man who came out before me, who also was auditioning for Ducky, came out cursing very loudly, put expletive deleted. And I said, yes. Terrible thing to do. Anyway, I went in, and the first thing I said is, I've been working off Broadway lately, and I've been playing to audiences that are smaller than what we have in here. And they all laughed, and we had a nice time, and Bonnie was great. And they got down on the floor again, and I did the same thing over again. Left. And then they produced a contract and said, before you go to CBS, any of you, several people, you have to sign a contract in case you get the job, and then you hold us, hostage. So I signed the contract. I called the agent and said, is this okay? And they said, yes, and we've already seen it. So I signed it, went over to Paramount, which was just down the road, went in through those wonderful gates and into another of these little tiny projection rooms, and did the same thing over again. And afterwards, Don came out and put his arm around me, because he's a great deal bigger than I am, and said, David, yeah. And, I realized I might have the job. And I was driving away, and the rented car had a flat. So I got out, and I took what they call it, the donut that they put in rented cars. I put the donut on the back of the car and drove off. And as I did, I got a phone call to say I'd got the job. And I said, well, then I'm going to go get a car that works. And that was it. And then the first day of shooting, I flew out and stayed in a hotel. I know Catherine came a number of times. They were Don Belisario scripts, and they were long and difficult and wonderful. And we were in the reservoir up in the hills right above Los Angeles, and there was a body hanging in a tree. And I was wading out into the water and examining it in the water. And there was a young lady who was playing the young lady who didn't survive the pilot. She left and someone else came in.
Robin Lively, I think it was.
But that was it. Mm-hmm. And we're still doing it.
Along with the popularity of the show came your popularity. Ilya became very popular as a character. You became very popular as a star. Mm-hmm. What was that period like for you dealing with celebrity?
I lost all degree of privacy. Privacy? I wasn't private anymore. I couldn't really go anywhere. I used to I still am. I love to take photographs. And I would take my Nikons or Canons or whatever they were, and I'd go out and, like Cartier-Bresson, you look for the moment décisif and, take pictures. And I had boxes of negatives and some wonderful pictures. I mean, I learned to be a better photographer than I was in the beginning. And so I loved that. And then I lost that ability completely, because the minute you walk out, people recognize you. And then you pick up a camera, they all go, boom, that's it. The end of that. And just a sort of general thing which it took a while to get over, and then was no problem. And then there are people that come up to you and say, "You're David McCallum, you play Ilya." And yes, I just love your work. Would you mind signing this, my napkin or whatever? And that's very gracious. And then there are people that just throw a piece of paper down in front of you and say, "Sign that," which it doesn't get signed, But it's there's a whole new way of going through life when everybody knows who you are. There's certain naughty things you can't do anymore, but I wasn't particularly naughty before they all happened. No, I mean, you just do the best you can, and if that's not good enough, you do better. I mean, that's it.
I'd actually read there were a few instances where, like, security was an issue. You were supposed to appear at a Macy's in New York.
They did $25,000 worth of damage in Macy's. I went in a police car, and I went up to the executive floor, which is way up somewhere in Macy's. And one of the policemen came in shaking with Chuck Painter, who is responsible for the whole thing. And he said, "You can't go down there." He said, "It's bedlam. You just can't go down." I said, "Okay, what are we going to do?" He said, "We've got to get you out of here." So I said, "Well, how do we do that?" And he said, "Well, through there is an elevator, and in there is a police car. You go and get in that police car. We take you down and out." So I went in and got in the police car with this policeman, a young man, slightly sweaty, and we go down in the elevator. And when we get to the bottom of the elevator, the door opens, and they've closed Times Square. And the mob is all around the outside. And he drives the car out of the elevator right into the very middle of the square and stalls the car. So I'm sitting back there, rather like Ilya Kuryakin, and he's trying to land me. Nothing's happening. And I said, "Excuse me, if you turn the siren off and the radio, just turn all the electrical." So he turned it all off and he started the car and we drove off.